Hey guys, welcome to the first TBR for the new year, 2021. Lots of goals, lots of plans, but before we get into it, I know in recent videos I've always been like, I don't have a lot of non-bookish book gifts, but that changed this Christmas. And my mom bought me this really cute shirt, which you can't really see right now, but it's things I do in my spare time, and I think it is adorable. So yeah, got a lot of great bookish shirts and things. And also, it's that time of year where you think about goals and aspirations before it all becomes less important in 6 months. But I am excited. And on the Friday after this, you will be seeing my reading goals video, and I have incorporated some of those into this TBR. So if you're here, you get a little sneak peek from that video, but let's get into it. One of my primary goals, since I did open a NetGalley account, maybe not the best idea, but I did. So I want to make sure I don't get behind that and I don't request too many things. And I want to try and do one ARC, an advanced reader copy from NetGalley a month if I have one available. So the one I want to do for January is Mask of Mirrors. I'll also have the release date below it. I have it written down, but those things are always changing. So I'll try and get the most updated one on the screen for you. And this one comes out at the end of January, and I'm really interested. Judith from Dead Good Book Reviews has already read it, and it seems like it's kind of like a high fantasy, heisty thing. It's like 600 pages, the first in a series, and I know it's a collaboration of 2 authors. I'm really interested. I do trust this publisher quite a bit, so I'm really excited to get my own thoughts on it. So this is the ARC of the month. I'm probably not reading it till closer to the release date. I'll have a review out hopefully before or at, but we'll see what happens because a book that I'm reading because of immense peer pressure this month is Gardens of the Moon, the first Malazan book of the Fallen book. I don't know how to say the name. Ryan said it right away because he said it with like a Boston accent, and that's just like hysterical to me. Because I was like, wait, how did you know how to pronounce it? He's like, I don't know, I just pronounced it the Boston way. I don't know what this is about. It's the first book in a 10-book series that might also have companion books. It's an epic, high fantasy that does seem to be like it's more about the world than it is about a plot or the characters, which is very hit or miss for me. Like, I don't necessarily love that in the First Law trilogy where it's like super character focused and not plot or world focused, and this one seems like it might be more world focused, which I do like world building. So if the writing style works and if I remotely care about these characters, it could be great. So I'm starting that journey, and this is the first thing I'm picking up in January because I need to give myself time because it's only, oh, it's less than 500 pages, and that doesn't even include the appendices at the beginning and the back. That's why I got this from the library, because I want to be flipping to the glossary and the character names. And I also feel like this will probably benefit from having both a physical and e-copy. I do have the ebook out as well. So this is the first one, and why I'm not starting off with Masks of Mirrors, because there is a read-along. I'll put the link to the Discord that I'm in, but a bunch of my friends are starting it. I'm sure a bunch of us will go well with it and won't. We'll see what happens. Another goal I have for the year, because I'm a big rereader. Most of the books on the shelf I have reread multiple times. And I kind of got out of habit of doing that in the past 5 or so years. And I want to get back into it because I love rereading. It's so cozy and awesome. So I started a reread of the Winternight trilogy in December, and I loved The Bear and the Nightingale more than the first time through. And especially with knowing what's to come and getting so excited for that journey to continue. So I bought myself all 3 in hardback, which if you're new here, I don't buy a lot of books, but I was just like, I love this series. And I was waffling, do I want the UK covers? Do I want the US covers? Do I want hardback? Do I want paperback? I decided on the hardback, and Girl in the Tower, it's happening. Because I want to reread this whole trilogy in winter, because it's a very winter trilogy. And so this one, so The Bear and the Nightingale, it's a historical fantasy set in, I don't know what year Russia. If I end up looking it up, I'll put it on the screen. But we follow Vasya, who kind of grows up in the northern part of Russia. And in that region, there's a good blend of pagan and organized religion put together. And she can actually see the creatures that are kind of manifested by people's belief in them. And that's kind of where the magic lays into it. And she is very much a woman who wants to pave her own path. She doesn't want to be put into the binary of nun or married. And you kind of get to watch her grow up, and you get to watch this community kind of be put into this fear-mongering state by a priest who is sent from the main capital. And this book, so the first book is kind of a complete thought, but this book takes place basically right after where the first one leaves off, and I'm very excited. That trilogy is so winter. It's interesting because it's definitely more lush in its prose than I'm used to. It's definitely slower paced, but its theming and how it just feels like a dark fairy tale and its creepy tones were just awesome. So I'm really, really excited to get into this one. The next one I'll talk about is for my local book club. This is The Innocents. I don't know anything about it. Here's a picture. I know it's a Canadian poet, and we actually just read a book by a poet last month. So it'll be interesting to see a different person's take on the novel who is also has a poet background. I don't know anything about the plot. If you know something about it and want to get me pumped, please do. I'll be reading this earlier in the month because book club is earlier in the month, so I gotta get to that. And speaking of like more buddy read book club things, I'm manifesting it. I'm reading Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Michael Nips says that's when we're reading it. We're gonna read it in January, and I even texted him the other day. I was like, are you sure? Is this happening? Because I'm making my TBR, and he said yes. So I'm reading Ship of Magic in January. I am excited. I hear this one's even better than Farseer, which I did enjoy, even though it hurt me. And these ones are long, so I'm hoping they've earned their length, because I thought the one weakest part for the Farseer is that each book got longer and longer, and I didn't think they need to keep getting longer. So we'll see. This first book starts off at like 800 pages, but I know I can do it. I'm nervous excited about it. I also have 2 more buddy reads. And both of them actually are short story collections. So with my friend Nikita, we're gonna read Love After the End. This is a Indigenous short story speculative fiction collection. I literally stumbled upon it because my library was sending out emails in November, which was, you know, Native American Indigenous Awareness Month or something. And I'm like, oh, I love speculative fiction short story collections. That's like my thing. And so I got a hold, and we've been looking to buddy read something for a while. So we're gonna look at this one, and it should be fun. And the other short story collection I'm buddy reading with Kayla and Lena, because we just finished Revenant Gun, which like was awesome. We're gonna read the Hexarchate stories, which are short stories in that Machinery's Empire world. I think most of them are General Jadao, who is like our favorite character, so that's like great. I really like how orange this cover is. I know I love every cover in this series, but it's why I bought them. So yeah, it's another buddy read and another short story collection, because another intention I have for the year is I want to read 10 to 12 short story collections. I think they're really fun. I just like the ideas that get to be explored in that format. Now, for the sake of trying to keep my TBR reasonable with all of these big and challenging reads ahead of me, I wanted to only put one more for sure book that I want to get to, and then one like asterisk maybe if I have time, if I need it. So the one I really want to get to is Storm of Locust by Rebecca Roanhorse. I just bought this. I'm very happy about it because I really like these covers. I like that they're tactile and like, I don't know, I'm a big fan. So it's the sequel to Trail of Lightning, which I read in the summer, end of summer, and it's about Maggie. Yes, that is her name, who is kind of, I don't think the technical term is monster hunter, but essentially she is a monster hunter. She's someone with clan powers who's very good at killing, and this is a post-apocalyptic fantasy world where kind of monsters and powers and magic have come back as a response to this great flood, and her job in the last book was to kind of figure out what was happening, and we kind of left off on like a mini cliffhanger in Trail of Lightning, and so this kind of picks up where it leaves off, but I just love Maggie. My favorite thing to think about is Geralt and Maggie at a bar, having some drinks, both grunting a lot. Like they're both definitely that like kind of little bit of self-loathing monster hunter character that I just like, it's a trope that works for me. So I really like Maggie, I really like the magic, I really like Rebecca Roanhorse's writing. I'm excited. And the last one, the one that's like the asterisk, maybe not committing to it. This is A Court of Wings and Ruins? I don't know, ACOWAR, there's an image. I started rereading the second book in that series over Thanksgiving, and I wasn't going to read this one, so it's not an essential, but I kind of want to, and I have a lot of meaty things on this TBR, and part of me was like, I need something fast-paced candy. I don't have any candy on this TBR. I don't have anything I can just blaze through. And I wanted to reread this before Nesta's book comes out in February. So that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully. We'll see. It depends on how Malazan and Ship of Magic work for me. Those are the 1,300 pages. I don't really know how that's playing out. I don't know if it's gonna make me slumpy. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I want to get back to having more reasonable TBRs for myself, because I think because of BookTube and being at home more often, I've been able to read more, but that's not going to be sustainable because I want to do my other hobbies. But I used to still read 7 to 8 books a month before BookTube, so I can feasibly do that. So I just want to try and like make it reasonable, because I remember my first couple TBRs, I was like, it was so satisfying to just check everything off and it was great. But I also like having goals, so just trying to balance it. But I am really excited for a lot of these reads. There are lots of, you know, maybe hidden gems that I don't know I'll love, because I do love that. I never know if I'll love something. Some that I'm pretty sure are going to be hits, others that are just complete wild cards, and I'm excited to have my opinions on them. If any of these you want standalone reviews for, besides the one I mentioned that are going to get them, please let me know, and I'll work on that. I am planning on doing a series review for the Winternight trilogy when I am finished with it, so that's on the list. Of course, Masks and Mirrors. I think I'm going to probably do a vlog and a review for Gardens of the Moon, depending on how many thoughts I have. I have a feeling I'm going to have thoughts, and I feel like having a vlog will help me work through the confusion that is inevitable for that book. But those are, I think, the only things I really have planned for review. I might do a series review for The Sixth World after I read Storm of Locusts and things like that. So I do like trying to review when I have time, but I don't have time for everything. So if there's something you want me to review, let me know and I will make sure to highlight it. But that's it for this one. What is the first book you plan to read in 2021? I am choosing a wild card. It's not going to be a for sure win, but I'm excited to dive in. And if you just want to leave an emoji in the description, leave like a party hat emoji, because it's the new year and we might as well pretend that it could be better. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.